Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast. This community is about providing value first, and rather than having one interaction, one transaction, and one payday from the work you do, we're here to teach you to build so much more.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Probate Mastery Alumni Weekly Mastermind Call. And subject to change and upgrade here coming up, some exciting things we're working on that Chad's been working on. We do this call every week for people who are graduates of the Probate Mastery program and looking to, who are engaged in the business of building their real estate business, whether investor or real estate agent. My focus is always real estate agent. In fact, we're going to be making some additions to split that a little more formally going forward. I am an investor, but my primary focus is on listing property and selling property for clients. But this calls for either one, and we get together people who are engaged in the business of building their real estate practice as a result of the class and are implementing those programs as well as other activities along the way. And just a quick promo, ProbateMastery.com is a website that Chad Corbett founded to create for real estate agents who are looking to build their business. It's, I think, the best training in the business. And there's also Earn Attorney Referrals Now, which is how to build your business getting referrals from attorneys. And on the website, you'll see the podcast, which will have this program and links to YouTube and past episodes and all kinds of great content as well. And then also you should know that anybody who's an alumni should look at the Facebook group, Probate Mastery Alumni. We have 1,600 members of our 3,000, I think, graduates of the program. Great place to list any looking for referrals, any probate. There's Michael Gaddy. Wow, hey, Michael. Any probate specialists working in Greenville, South Carolina, other needs, wants, discussions going on here. Great place to have those discussions. So I'd love to have you there. If you're on this call, we're here to network. So feel free to put in your contact information, your name, how to reach you, what areas you work in, so we all are up to date. And then I just a quick shameless plug for me is my weekly program that I do separately is probateweekly.com. It's a podcast for agents, investors, and wholesalers. Generally, I do an interview with a attorney or professional in the business, so feel free to join there. And then additionally, I have a Facebook group of my own, which is Probate Experts within Facebook. Probate Experts is the group, and feel free to join there as well. But I would say as an alumnus, this is like my primary spot for asking questions, looking for help and interaction during the week on how to help us all get more business. So that said, I see a couple people who put their names and information in. Valerie, welcome to our call. And Shaun, welcome to our call. I don't know that we've met before, Shaun, but welcome to a call as well. And then I see some regulars, Dan Haney, Bud Thompson, Sherry Lund, welcome. Legacy Transitions, I don't know. I do know a Larry Smith group headed by a Larry Smith, and it looks like him, but there's Legacy Transitions, who's maybe his lookalike. So love to have you guys turn on the cameras, ask questions. Let's do some business today. Who can I help today? Who has a problem, a challenge, or a victory? I can share mine. I could talk all day on the good victories I have going on, but the goal is here to work together. So let's jump in. Bruce has his hand up. Bruce, let's get you jumping in, and welcome to the call.
Hi. Hey, just a quick question. So I was speaking with a law firm yesterday, and I briefly mentioned like what I've just did for one of my clients, and they already have information on me. But when I talked to them last, I don't think I had EstateExec, and so I've got it now. And I was just wondering, you could really detect the frustration in this person's voice, and he even acknowledged that, you know, just trying to get people to take care of things and get them done in a timely manner has just been a real challenge for them, and it makes more work for their office. So sending over a sample to them. So instead of like just paying the $99 fee, I mean, which I don't have a problem with doing that. Is there anything alternative I can send to them and then maybe sign them up afterwards? Because I don't know exactly who all their clients are and so, who could use the actual program.
Great. So I'd say anybody on the call here who's using EstateExec, Feel free to jump in and answer the question in more detail than I'm going to. Remember that really what you're selling is always you. Estate exec is the tool you're presenting. It's the tool that you're talking about to get their attention. But never forget that it's the tool, you are the solution from which all the good stuff in life comes from. Because I know you well enough to know you have other tools that if they said to you, hey, that's a hammer, I need a screwdriver, you say, well, great, I have 5 screwdrivers. Let's talk about what you need and get you the right screwdriver, right? To use an analogy. So the only thing I would caution you is make sure that you always remember you're the solution, not the tool. Now, that said, there's anybody here who's using Estate Exec and can talk to Bruce more about how they've used that, how they bring that into conversation, and how you've been effective with that. If you have, feel free to jump in now or jump in later on the call. And otherwise, I just don't have any experience in that to offer you, Bruce. I don't want to mislead you and act like I'm the answer of all things probate. I do what I do, but I don't do what I don't do.
Yeah, and during our conversation, basically they understood and they got it that I'm like the single source to help with the estate. So that they got. They know that's what I do.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the $99 and I think that the thing that I want to press on my customers is always not so much that any particular tool is the right tool. It's that, let's talk about whatever problems you have and work on those tools together and find the right ones. And I have a variety of them. So rather than the money part of it, it's always about offloading their work. I'm really good at delegating to virtual assistants. I'll tell them I'll do stuff for them. I don't do any of it. I mean, honestly, I don't do much but talk to customers on the phone and then assign out tasks to staff members to get done for me. But the language I use with the attorney is I'll get that done for you. They don't care how I get it done. They just care that it gets done.
Okay.
And Lynette says she offers that if you want to text her, she'll be glad to share with you that she's not in position to be on camera. So maybe that's I don't know, Bruce, you have access to the chat box? Good.
I got the phone number already.
It might be a good one for you to tell. And then legacy transitions, which might be related to Larry Smith, I don't know, looks like him, suspiciously enough, says that he's setting the client up on a free trial for the state executive later today. So there you go. Good job with that. And someone's a party for and so Vince is suggesting, my only concern, if you Vince and Larry, is that with the estate exec having personally gone into it, it's not insignificant amount of administrative work. I mean, if I was an attorney, I would want to know what goes into it. I'm sending a customer to or having my staff member deal with, but there's a lot there. There's more there than just opening up the case and starting it. There's a lot of information, a lot of questions. So I guess I would say be careful with how you present that, because what you don't want to do is tell an attorney, oh, all you have to do is spend the next hour and a half doing computer work, because you might lose the friendship that way. Hope that helps, Bruce.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else who uses Estate Exec, feel free to reach out to Bruce and or put some information into the chat box. I'd love to continue that conversation. So who else has a challenge, question, problem that's engaged in building their probate business we can help today? Here's a question I'll have for you then, while we're waiting for somebody else to jump in.
I have a question.
Okay, who's this?
I'm sorry. Shaun.
Hey, Shaun, what's up?
Hey, Bill. Bill, I have a question. So this year I finally started like a legal LLC with my state, and I'm working on getting business insurance and everything, doing the whole website and everything through all the leads. I started making some calls, I just wanted to know, coming into this, is there like, I know every state is different, I know everybody's business is different, but I don't think probate is very much different. So is there like a general outline that I can look forward to, or almost like a fill in the blanks every day, so I kind of have a great idea of what I'm doing to move my business forward and to be able to see what's working and what's not? Or do I have to literally put that together myself? I know it's a loaded question, but I don't know if there's like things to check off, like, okay, talk to 10 people, call 3 attorneys, send out this many mailers, just stuff like that. Or am I overthinking it? Because I don't.
No. For sure you're not overthinking it. So for sure, you should have a plan that you should know what you're supposed to do every day in any endeavor, right? When I watch NFL football a lot. I really enjoy watching the pre-game and post-game press conferences when they talk about the process of building their teams, because to me it's very similar to the question that Shaun's asking. And the answer they all have is they all have a process that they work. Like it varies a bit, but they all have a process, whether it be how do you prepare during the week for the game on Sunday? There's a process for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's a process on game day they follow before they get ready for the game. After the game on the way home, I love watching the equipment organizations. How do they prepare the equipment, take the equipment home? And so Shaun asked a great question, which is, well, what do I do every day? And I think that gets down to creating a business plan. And so a topic I feel very passionate about is, I think in real estate, Shaun, you a real estate agent first or real estate investor first?
I've been an agent for about 10 years.
Got it. So as real estate agents, I think we get particularly distracted with very fancy business planning programs that get us way off track. I think that what you have to have, and I'll just summarize a business plan because we're still in January, as being clear on your longer term goal, where you want to be 5 years from now or longer. From there, you got to calculate, well, to get there, what do I need to do this year? And then get there, what do I do this quarter? Because I think plans are based on a year, they're so long and so unattainable that we get off track a month or two and we kind of give up on. Most people give up and never follow the plan. Versus you should have, I think, a series of 90-day plans that lead to they're part of your annual plan that leads to your goal. And I can share with you in my life or two main times in the last 10 years where I had a very clear picture of what my 5-year goal was. The prior one, my goal was, at the time, my wife and I had our only child was a graduating high school, and we were faced with 4 years of college, a gap year where we send kids to Israel. We're religious Jews. That's a common experience. And at some point, a ridiculously expensive wedding. So you add up 5 years of support and a ridiculous wedding, and all those costs after taxes is a ridiculous amount of money. And for doing a series of mistakes and problems and setbacks or whatever, we didn't owe any money, but we didn't have the money for all that put aside. So I had to have a 5-year plan that covered that and continued to save us money. And so my 5-year plan ended with me walking down the aisle with my daughter. The traditional father walks off the daughter, passes off to the groom. In my mind, knowing I'd done all that and had no debt. That was my goal, was to get to that moment with no debt, continue to put money away for retirement. And there's a lot of what that means to me personally. But I had that vision in my mind every single day. Now, to get there, year one, I had to make X, year two, X, 3, 4, 5. To get to year one, I had to back off. But what did I do this quarter? I had no business quarter one. What do I have to do? So I had a quarter. So I would urge you to have that goal, break it down to the years, and then have a plan with each quarter. For me, today, I have a 5-year plan. And based on that 5-year plan, I have a goal for the year. And based on that, I have a 90-day plan. And my plan today includes every day from 8 till noon, I do business development, which is I talk to somebody who either needs to sell property or can refer me people who need to sell property, right? So this call is at 12 noon. It's after that time slot. So you guys don't fit in that category, right? If I do something in the morning, I have to replace that hour in the afternoon with business development time. So my goal is all day long, we're talking to attorneys, families, vendors that can refer me business, whatever it was. When I started in probate 4 years ago, I went to court every day for 3 hours a day in those days. And I had to track how many people I had to meet. My goal, kind of like as a real estate agent who door knocks, my goal was to meet 1.5 people per day as defined by they would give me their name, address, phone number, and email address. So I keep in contact with them. Not all people will, but those that did were my new contacts. So I would say to you, it's a little longer than we could do on this phone call. Maybe someday we could do a business planning event, or maybe Chad does one or something. But my approach to that is really get clear on your picture, kind of like a map. I'm going to cross the United States from LA to New York. Okay, I have to get to New York, which means to get to New York, it's, let's say in 5 years, I've got to get to wherever it is in this year. And then to do that, this quarter, here's what I need to do. And I track that. And I have a spreadsheet that I look at every day with my pendings, my listings, and my hot leads. And I look at it every single day. Every single day. And I calculate out my pendings. My pendings have to equal that quarter's commissions, with a margin for error because deals fall out. So I look at that every day. And if it's not, like, holy crap, I'm still behind. I'm behind for this quarter by about $25,000 of commission. So I'm racing to get a couple of properties listed right away. Does that help a little bit, Shaun?
Yes, that definitely helps. Now, if I was facing the situation where I had to hire myself or you, I'd probably hire you because you just look, more experienced than I do. I'm younger. You're just a little bit older than me, but you just look like you have that experience. So in my mind, do I get over that hurdle, whether I'm talking to somebody on the phone or meeting them in person? I'm 44, but people mistake me for like a younger person. So it's like, how do I relate to them that I have the experience to handle such a serious matter?
Well, that's a great question. You've got to sell yourself first. You have to believe you bring great value to your customers. The money we get paid is a reflection of the value we create for our customers. So just like any endeavor in life, you need to think about where your strengths are and play to those. So I think you hit in a couple, and my goal is to present my strengths, which are experience, deep knowledge, and maybe a deep Rolodex, right? The advantage of being older is I've done more than you've done. Hopefully I've learned from some of it, and I know more people than you have. If I was younger, I would play that strength, right? When I meet somebody who's really young, in their 20s, in my mind, starting out in their career, you want to play to that energy and excitement and charisma that people want to be around. You're kind of in the middle a little bit. I think part of the question that you're asking me is based on your own assumptions and insecurity, meaning you want to do business with people who want to do business with you. I want to do business with people who want to do business with me. I want to work with people who appreciate experience, knowledge, and a deep Rolodex. Everything I do is oriented towards that. My marketing is all oriented towards that. If you watch anything I do on YouTube, I'm always working on my experience, my knowledge, my information that I can give to my customers. So somebody who's younger, if you're going to focus on energy, excitement, charisma, you got to emphasize those things so people want to work with you for those things. So I would turn the question around you and say, and let me go back. This is also similar to your business planning question, which is oftentimes agents will say, I'm going to think about it, but never really think about it. I have a little podcast I launched, Business Secrets of the Bible. And I talked about this last night, where the Jewish people of history, not from a religious point of view, but just from a business lesson point of view, got off track from a story point of view. They were too busy. I'm sorry?
I'm definitely very familiar with the Bible.
So the story is, it wasn't that they were enslaved by being grabbed and hunted down. They were so busy, they didn't pay attention. Next thing you know, they're enslaved, because one day at a time, when you don't pay attention, you can end up anywhere. And we don't spend the time to think about things. So I would say to you, Shaun, you need to break out in your calendar some time to think about your business plan. I spent a whole week when I created my first plan. And then I spent a month gathering more information. And I think also 1 hour on your value proposition. What value do you create for your customers that's unique or gives you a competitive advantage? And focus on that. And look, I'm older. I would love to look younger. I'd love to look more like you. You're a good looking guy. But I play to my advantages, right? If we're going to play the game, we're going to play the game, focus on where I'm going to win, not on where you're going to win. You've got to figure out where you're going to win and play the game there. And so, the flip side of experience is energy and excitement, and you need to find the right balance for you in those areas. But I think that you really need to think about, what are the assets you bring to your customers? What are the resources you bring uniquely to them? And then play the game where those are more important. Play the part of the game where those are more important than the other ones.
Okay. And lastly, can I tell you what I'm saying when I call these people? Like, can we do just like a mock call?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I just be like, hey, Bill, how you doing? This is Shaun.
Hey, Shaun.
Hey, Bill, I just giving you a call today in regards to the estate of 123 Main Street. And Bill, I just wanted to let you know I'm a local guy here in New Jersey, and I like to help families or representatives that's dealing with non-legal aspects of the estate. And I just wanted to see if there's anything you're stuck on.
So 2 challenges to that question. It's a yes, no. So once I say no, you're done.
Yeah, I'm getting that a lot. That's why I asked.
Second,
I'm trying to make it short and sweet because I don't want to go through the whole gamut and bore them
Yeah.
to death.
Yeah. So, I used to run a coaching program, and I would charge $1,000 a month for one-on-one coaching. The number one tool I did as a coach that you can do for free is I would make my coaching customers record themselves on their phone calls and then listen to it. It's brutal. There is nothing more painful in the world than listening to yourself talk to customers. But if you push yourself to do it, there's nothing more rewarding to improve. What I would suggest you do is record yourself, write out the script that you want to say, because it sounds to me like you're clear on some concepts, but not clear on the words, and trim it down to as few words as possible. There's a few places where you're using 3 words or 1 word will work. Use 1 word. Don't say with blah, blah, that which you can say with blah.
Okay.
That'd be my best advice. So I hope that helps a little bit. Look, we recorded this now. Go back and listen to the video here and listen to yourself. Write out what you said and then trim it down to where you get it to where it's more tight. And I think also where you feel that you're creating value, because I don't get a sense that you believe what you're doing is valuable to me.
Okay.
On the flip side, I literally hung up with a customer a couple hours ago who her father died in a house. He was a bit of a hoarder. She's humiliated that anybody's going to go in the house and see this. But she can't handle it. She works full time. She can't really deal with getting it cleaned out. She doesn't know what to do physically and emotionally. It's beyond her. There's people breaking into the house, stealing things. She can't get a handle on the locksmith. She's embarrassed about that. She's embarrassed to tell me about that. She doesn't know how to sell a house. She's never owned a house in her life. And her attorney referred me, and she's so relieved that I said, don't worry about the hoarding. I've seen everything. I'll take care of it. We'll clean it out for you. We'll get it relocked. We'll fix the doors that are broken. I'll handle the cell for you. So I know I'm creating value for her. I can speak with confidence because I know that. You need to get in your mind that confidence that when you call, you're bringing value. Now, out of 10 people you talk to, 8 may blow you off because they're too stupid to appreciate the value you bring. That's on them, not you. But there's 2 in 10 that need you, that you need to talk to with conviction, so they'll hear it.
Okay. And I've been a career firefighter for 18 years.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you. How and when or where do I incorporate that? I don't want to use it a lot. So 10 years ago, a great friend of mine told me that I should do probate. And should I have listened? Absolutely. Because he said for the empathy factor, being a fireman and seeing people, in a bad, at their worst times, I work in more of an urban environment. So I see a lot of wild, interesting things. When do I bring that up? When do I bring that up? And how do I use it in a way that's not sleazy, if you will? And then I'll let whoever else has questions. So I appreciate everybody's patience.
I don't know how to answer the question in detail. I will say that don't push it, force it. Don't think it's a tool to use. Your experience as a firefighter and the empathy that you created on your job is a great resource. The story about it is just the story about it. Now, I might do a video on why I got into probate and also why I think I'm capable of helping people uniquely, and do that video, post on my YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. And if it's a good one, people will see it. And like all my YouTubes, I email them out to my database and share with them a summary in an email with a link to it for people to see. So you might share about it in a video format, and those who are interested will hear more about it. But in a conversation, I probably wouldn't bring it up unless it was appropriate in the conversation.
So if they say, hey, why should I trust you? Then everybody else who's calling, can I say, hey, listen, Bill, if it helps, I've been a career firefighter here in, X town, and people call me at their worst. So I know you may not be at your worst, but you're at a difficult time, and I think I can help you. Would that be appropriate, you think? Or you mean whatever you answer, I won't be like, oh, well, Bill said, if that's your own personal answer, that's fine. I just hope that that would help people hook. Because it's like every time you talk to somebody, oh, my uncle was a fireman. Oh, my brother, my dad. It's like they're so relatable to police and fire. So
Yeah, I think generally firemen are particularly well respected in a society where we've decreased our trust and respect for everybody. Firemen still maintain a high level of trust and appreciation as a general rule. I think that's because you are a fireman, not because you were a fireman, meaning because of who you are today, not because of who you were. So I don't know that the story is that much going to help you. Look, the key to handling objections, there's 3 steps on every objection you ever get. When they say, why should I trust you? That's kind of a pretty bold question to ask somebody, right? If you think about it. Because number one, if I'm not trustworthy, I have a great answer for you. If I'm a slime balls have a great answer for that question. It's honest people who don't hear that very often who struggle with it. But there's 3 steps to every objection you get. One is repeat what they say to you. Because the number one complaint is that people don't listen. So, well, why should you trust me? Second step is affirm their question. Well, that's a great question. The third is to ask another question. So let me ask you, sounds like you maybe been burned before in dealing with real estate. See, the thing is, the more they talk, the more they trust you. The more you talk, the less they trust you. There's probably nothing you're going to say that will earn their trust. But there are plenty of questions you can ask that will show perception that will earn their trust. So I don't know that the I'm a fireman is the right objection handler to that question, why should you trust me? That you are a fireman probably means you're trustworthy. Let who you are just come out. There's a saying, who you are speaks so loudly, I can hardly hear what you're saying. Right? So let that be rather than have to talk about it. I don't know that I would ever bring up, I'll give you an example. I am, not that it's similar, but one of my character traits is I believe I'm deeply religious. I have a very strong faith in God. I believe personally that is the root for all of my blessings and success in life. But I don't need to tell people that. Either it comes across or it doesn't. Right?
Absolutely, I believe that.
If I really feel that
1,000%.
way, it comes across. If I don't feel that way, I can say it 100 times. It doesn't make a difference.
Okay. Definitely.
I think the same with this,
appreciate
okay?
it. Yes, thank you, Bill.
And Bill,
Yes.
a comment on that.
Sure,
I
Dave.
always like to bring in story to relate that I was a police officer or a Marine. So think about that when you don't want to make a statement, hey, I'm a firefighter, I deserve your business. It's like when I ran into this situation as a firefighter or when I was on a fire call, this is how I dealt with it.
Wow.
That feel felt. What does that feel felt? You just want to bring it.
Feel felt found.
Yeah, feel felt found. Where you bring them into the story of that. And they're like, oh, you were a police officer or a firefighter? Oh, that's cool. It's just just bring them into your story of something you've experienced that have helped them come to that conclusion. Because the more you could share with them stuff that's obvious in a story format, it's going to help you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave was only a policeman. He was a fireman, but I think he relates to the same topic.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's the same thing. I always try to bring it in. Even on my business card, it says Marine, nice guy, broker extraordinaire. And they always ask me about it. So it's just, you never want to tell someone what to do. I always ask for permission of what to do.
Yeah, I think you should have it on your website. I think you should have a video about it, but I don't think that's an objection handler, is what I would say. But I do think David makes a great point. If you could work in a story as to, how hard you're willing to work for somebody, I think that can be positive. Just don't use it as a gimmick. Make sure it's real.
Okay. That
Okay.
sounds great. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Both of you.
All right. Okay. So I got a bunch of stuff in the chat. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Nice to have you in the call.
Yeah, welcome.
Let's see here. Someone clarifies how fine. State text me fine. Question from Terry: can personal representatives in Arizona operate with full authority like in California? I don't know the law in Arizona. I have to be honest. So I don't know. In California, the court either appoints you with full authority or limited authority. I don't know how it is in Arizona. I would talk to an Arizona attorney. I think we're too hesitant to ask questions, but I think finding an attorney that you can use as your sounding board would be really, really helpful. Also, Terry, I would say, I'm not sure what company you're with. I'm with a large brokerage. We have brokers who are very experienced in probate in other states. And so if I had a question in Arizona on a case I was working on, I might call the Arizona broker and ask them for help, or email them or chat them and find out. So I don't know what company you're with, but maybe a real estate broker. We may have somebody on the call here who had the answer also. And then lastly, Terry, go into the Probate Mastery alumni group and ask that question. That's a great question. I just wish I knew the answer to it. Okay. TJ Cannon says, I'm going to start focusing on attorneys, calling, mailing, etc. Any tips? So I am part of the curriculum of Probate Mastery's EARN program, EARN Attorney Referrals Now program. But I will say to you that when people ask me, how do I get more business from attorneys? And I know you're not going to like this answer. TJ, are you on the call? Can I bring you in as well? We can talk a little bit about it, or let me see real quick. Scroll down. TJ, your video's on. Can I get you to unmute and bring you in? There you are. How you doing?
Good. My name is Meredith.
There you go, Meredith. Okay, so we have a Zoom fake out. So,
Yeah.
And where do you do business?
Michigan.
Michigan. How about that? I just did a referral with a friend of mine. We closed in Detroit, just sold a probate property. So you're going to start working with attorneys, and are you a real estate agent or investor?
An agent.
How long have you been in the business?
About 4 years.
Selling some houses. You have some success?
I'm actually an assistant to an agent. So I have my license and I work like that, but I'm office.
Got it. But you're going to start working as an agent and do your own business.
Yes.
How many people do you have in your center of influence database?
We have a good base because I'm attached to the main agent. So he has a good base of people.
Well, if you're attached to the main agent, if your question is how to build attorney relationships for that person, and they have a full active database, then now my answer is going to be more for an active agent and a full-time agent, which is the best attorney referrals are already in your database.
Okay.
The biggest mistake we make is we think, oh, I'm going to buy the data and cold call other attorneys. But in your database, you have attorneys. You also have clients who have attorneys. You have clients who are attorneys you haven't identified. You have clients whose spouse are attorneys you didn't identify. And so by using the content related to probate and estate planning, you need to identify your database, those who have attorneys and can refer you those that are attorneys, those are spouse attorneys, and market to those people. And so one of the easiest ways, I have a video on this on my YouTube channel, is to contact your database. And I don't know in Michigan, in California, you can take title in a trust or take title as individuals. And the way to avoid, one way to avoid probate is take title in a trust. That way, that when the decedent passes, the trust owns the property, and there's an administrator whose job it is to administer the trust. And so anybody who owns a house in California should have a trust, in my opinion, as a businessman, not as an attorney. So I can call clients and say, hey, Meredith, I sold you guys a house last year at 123 Main Street. I noticed when we sold it to you, you took title as Meredith and Bob Smith, not as a trust. I'm curious, are you aware of some of the advantages of estate planning? And you might say, yeah, we are. We don't want to do it. Okay. No, tell me about it. Well, I don't do estate planning, but we have a great attorney in our network named Mary Beth. She's an estate planner. I'd love to connect you together. Or she does a estate planning webinar once a week, or here's her video, which describes it, whatever her lead funnel process is. But now you've identified a prospect for the attorney that you want to send referrals to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You want to be in the middle of that conversation. So I just gave over a 2-minute version of an hour-long program, how to find attorney referrals in your current database rather than cold call. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. Okay. So business planning event would be great. I'll talk to Chad about that. Maybe we'll do that. Or maybe we'll do it individually. I'm not sure. I did a business planning event, but we'll see. Great answer, Bill. I'm not sure which question that was, but I think all my answers are great. So thank you so much. And Shaun said, somebody says, I'm 27. Yeah, if I was 27, I would rather be 27 than 64. So for sure, that's a big advantage. I'd play to that advantage. Yeah, Frank says that end the conversation with an open-ended question. So in sales, I got this from Mike Ferry. Selling isn't telling. Selling is asking questions. We think selling is giving them the killer answer. It's the opposite. Really great selling is asking engaging questions that get your prospect to open up, feel comfortable, share with you, trust you. And the more they talk, the smarter they think you are. So how you do that is with open-end questions. There was a game we used to play called the question game, where you would ask a question and then the partner would repeat, affirm, and then ask a question back. And then you would get that question, you would repeat it, affirm it, and ask a question back. And you just go back and forth and role play with each other. So it's a great game to play to develop that skill of listening and then asking questions. Terry says, interesting, I used the phrase burned out, burned before. Okay, I'm not sure what that refers to, but
he's just being funny, Bill, about being a firefighter.
oh, got it. That's funny.
That's good.
Got
That
it.
is good.
I thought that would be, that's very funny. Very good. Okay. It's funny. Okay, now I get it. I didn't really think about that. I wasn't going to tell
that'd be a great for a postcard, and have him have a halfway firefighter and halfway in a kind of a realtor suit, not a suit, but and then you say, "Are you burnt out of probate?" Kind of help you. That'd be great.
Or tired of being burned by real estate agents. I was a firefighter and now I'm a realtor helping homeowners like you put fires out, maybe. And then,
yeah,
that's a cute one. Vince has two questions. What can I do for you? And do you want me to do it for you? Yeah, those are good questions as well. Definitely looking for opportunities to help other people. Let's see here. I see we have legacy transitions. It looks suspiciously like, AKA Legacy Larry, AKA the Larry Smith Group, AKA Larry Smith. What's up, Larry? Let's get you unmuted. We got you muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's a long introduction.
Well, you keep changing your identity. I want to make sure anybody who's on here weekly should know you're a weekly character, but you're like the character on the weekly program. You change which character you are every week.
Kat Wagner, you can blame her for that. She's the one that gave me that. So, real quick. So today was the first day I went to probate court with my own client and the attorney that I referred him. So that was a great day. We got to prove up a will and issue letters, testamentary. So I'm listing the first one Friday and two more to follow. So nothing really earth-shattering there other than what was something I didn't anticipate is I had tracked down one of the witnesses to the original will from 25 years ago.
Wow.
And she showed up, and of course, I was very thankful for her because it was not going to go well. We couldn't prove up a will without two witnesses. She showed up, but as we got to visiting there, she actually turned into an estate referral because she hasn't looked at it since her husband passed away. She was concerned about it. So that turned out to be a nice referral for another attorney. My guy couldn't take it. The guy I was there with, but I've got others that can, but that was kind of cool. Nothing other than that, just to share a win and see where that goes.
Well, I would say no matter what, going to court with your client is going to be a victory no matter what you do. Right? You're spending time with somebody, you guys spend time with somebody. Why not with a client? In your case, somebody who has multiple properties is an ideal client to be around. But I would say there are a lot of things they delegate. I'm not going to go to a house generally to inspect it, to put locks on, put a sign on, to put lockbox on. A lot of things I'm not going to do. I'll almost anytime I can with a client go to court. It's valuable for that relationship. and then I'm bound to meet somebody while I'm with a client at court. And I think that's a differentiator as well as an educational opportunity. So good for you. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. Looking forward to doing it again.
Regularly. Why not? Yeah, I think that's a fantastic. I can't urge real estate agents enough. If you have a chance to go to court, go once. Go if you're going to go with your client, maybe go before them one time as well, just to see the lay of the land, where the parking lot is, how to get in the door, where the courtroom is, where the coffee is. There's nothing like doing something a couple of times to get prepared for it. So,
There was one other point to that was the attorney was not used to this court, and he wasn't aware of their rules and some of their procedures. And so when he was visiting with the witnesses, he was saying, well, they may do it this way, they may do it. And I'd say, hey, Dean, actually, they're going to do it this way. And he goes, how do you know? I go, because I spent a lot of time in those courtrooms. And he came back again. He goes, what are they going to do in there, Larry? And I said, well, they're going to do it this way. So he goes, well, all the jurisdictions have different rules. And I go, that's right. And this court is different. And it was just kind of another way to help and demonstrate some expertise that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone to court. You're the one that, recommended it, and I'm just foolish enough to do it. So it was fun.
Yeah, there's no substitute for valuable on-point experience. And I remember going to court one time. In California, there's a rule with limited authority, which means the court has to prove it, that the court does what's called an inventory and appraisal report. It's an appraisal by the court of the value of the property. And the rule is that you can't sell the property for less than 90% of that report. So if the report comes back at 100,000, according to probate code, you can't sell for less than, it comes in for 100,000, you can't sell for less than 90,000. I remember the first time I saw a judge do it. And so the next time a situation came up where I was a listing agent and we were facing foreclosure and we were in escrow and the buyer discovers black mold and wants a significant reduction because of that, probably was entitled to some of it. I would say to the attorney, look, we can ask the judge to approve. This was like an 85%, because I've seen judges do it. It's in their discretion. If the judge approves it, it's approved. It doesn't matter what the law says. If the judge issues the order and signs it, it's the law, at least in California. So literally, because I'd seen it, felt comfortable requesting the judge to consider the exception. And I brought a copy of the printout of the hearing that I'd seen the other judge do it in another room. And the judge says, well, thanks for letting me know about that. And I do know that's within our discretion. And they approved our case. Of course, the attorney thought I was a Superman for knowing all that. I just sat in the room and paid attention. So definitely, I can't urge enough. If you want to make the probate business an area of expertise, there's no substitute for going to court and seeing what really happens there. Thanks, Legacy Transitions, aka Legacy Larry, aka the Larry Smith Group, aka Larry Smith. I love that. I don't know why. I just love that.
See ya.
Yes. Terry Hunter says, yes, that's true, Terry. The California appraisal is pretty much hands-off. It's at best a drive-by. I don't even think they drive by the properties. They're supposed to, but I don't even think they drive by it for the most part. I think it's interesting because if you look at the invoice, the rule, the billing code was written, I think in the 60s. And having been in the business in the mid 80s when I started, appraisers would, in the old days, would take pictures and then get them developed at a quick print photo place. They used to be in malls and shopping centers. And they'd pay, I don't know, maybe $1 a photo, and they would glue them on the appraisal report. This goes back to the mid 80s. And so in those days, I believe the court allowed the inventory and appraisal report, probate referees, to charge like $5 a photo and would suggest, I don't know, 5 or 10 photos per report. And so you'll see invoices this day that will say photos, $65. Well, who pays a penny for photos, unless it's a fancy one you get for your family or something? Everybody has an iPhone with a camera way better than those cameras were. And you can print them onto a document for nothing. And they don't turn in photos. The California appraisal report from the court you don't get photos. So they're charging $60 for photos not turning in. I don't even think they drive by the property. Now, what I will say is, you can reach out to them and send them comps, tell them about the inside of the property, send them photos of the inside so they can make that adjustment. And in California, at least, the list of probate referees is publicly available, their phone number and email. Some respond, some don't. Some are pleasant, some are nasty. But your job is to figure your way through that process. But definitely, they don't go in the property. There's no appointment. They never go inside. And I don't think most of them even drive the property, in my experience. Okay. Good stuff. Thank you, Terry, for jumping on that. Other questions, comments, challenges? At the end, we're going to have a contest. Who's the better looking between Legacy Transitions, Dave Pinnell and Shaun from New Jersey. We had some good looking guys on the call today. But other than that, Meredith, of course, could get in the contest too.
I think if the Legacy guy was given a documentary about Pearl Harbor, I'd definitely watch it. He seems like the type of guy that like drama and the planes and be good.
I would like that. I'm a World War II historian myself, so I definitely.
I know. He seems like the type of documentary guy.
I don't know if it's good or bad.
Sorry, Larry.
I do like that.
Yeah. He's got that kind of voice, right? Sounds like he was there almost too.
No. I was going to say that about you, Bill.
I wasn't there. No, I wasn't there. I was born during the Korean conflict. So, nice. Okay, who's got questions, challenges, problems, victories, or wants to make fun of Dave Pinnell? Anybody who wants to make fun of Dave, feel free to jump to the top of the line.
Please. I like that we're wearing the same shirts lately, Bill.
This is my Dave Pinnell look. Yeah.
I got a bunch of these black shirts for Christmas from my my mom, and they're I got this one's not the same one, but it's a Home Depot brand, and it's just comfortable.
You know, I have to tell you that I bought about 15 of the exact same shirt. It's cotton, it's comfortable, it's inexpensive, it matches, it's easy. I think it looks good. You know, on the camera, my face is. I used to wear white shirts for dress, and it would kind of drown out my face. Yep. And having silver hair, even more so. And so the black, I think, really doing video definitely works for me. So,
and I don't like wearing a jacket, so I like to wear something like this, and then the shirt on top of it, a dress shirt. So it works good.
Okay, when I grew up, I would be like Dave Pinnell.
Yes, we already look similar.
You look like my son, Dave. Okay, besides making fun of Dave Pinnell, of course, if you have anything fun of him, feel free. Yay for silver hair. Anybody have any questions, challenges, problems, victories you want to share today, or the agonies of defeat? Anybody want to share those? I'll just share a little something, is that one of the things I've done, and I guess it sounds self-promotional, but one of the tools that really helped my business has been probate advances. And I'd urge you to watch the content. Chad interviewed a couple, I've interviewed a couple on my YouTube channel, learn that product, because one of the problems that customers frequently have is the money to get the process started. And the money could be for the attorney's fees, or they want a retainer. Some attorneys will take it at the end, some won't. And then there's fees. There's court cost fees, filing fees, advertising fees, and then there's just normal real estate transaction fees. There's insurance. There's changing locks, clean out, maybe eviction, maybe a fence. And so probate advance has been a tool I've used, and I seem to use it over and over again. And I'm surprised at how our attorneys aren't even aware of it. So I do host every Wednesday morning at getprobate.cash. I do just a quick 30-minute overview of that product, getprobate.cash. If you sign up, you'll get a link. You'll get a link to the replay as well. But that's all self-serving on your own. Feel free to learn the product. And I put a lot of time into that. And you can make a little commission if you get approved as an affiliate. But the more important than that is you can create business for the attorneys to get referrals, and you can create solutions for your customers to get your business. So, and Frank says he's had success. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Frank, you want to share any of the successes you've had with a group? You want to jump on the call real quick?
Sure. Matt?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me get you.
Yeah, I actually, I had attorney friends of mine contact me about it, And sorry about that. And this one attorney buddy of mine, he was a criminal defense attorney, and he had a client that was in a situation, and this was to pay the retainer to my buddy. And it turns out his wife was murdered, and he was the only heir. And so it was a pretty decent estate. And so he went back to the well about 5 times. I ended up collecting about almost $20,000 in fees from the inherited advance company. So
Wow.
I use that as an offer in my direct mailings when I send things out to the PR. I try to have an offer for something free to call into at the end of every letter, a PS. And I have about 6 or 7 letters that go out every 30 days. So, and I'm just I want to up my game with that. I've had some really good postcards made for the inherited advance. And, it's actually pretty quick, easy money. And for the company that I'm associated with, for the most part, they can get stuff done in as little as 1 business day. The people can have their money in their bank account.
I mean, in fairness, that fee is unusually high, right? I mean,
Yes.
I think the average advance is $5,000 to $10,000. The average fee you can earn is $250 to maybe $500 to $1,000 is way more common. Though I will say, to me, that's like paid lead generation. I would rather get paid $250 or $1,000 than cold call for 3 hours and get paid nothing if it both generates leads. And the probate advance creates a relationship with the customer as well as with the attorney. So there's some other unique advantages to that lead generation technique. So it's a great tool. Thanks for sharing it, Frank. And I would just urge everybody to learn that tool. I just think it's really one of the most underutilized pieces of tools that are available to us, to our clients.
Yeah, I agree. It can help with many things, as you just pointed out here.
Yeah. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks.
Okay, good. So Frank's had some success with that. I definitely have. And I'll tell you, I have, like everybody else, I have a business that comes and goes, and I'm having some chair problems today. I knocked over water to start. I closed a bunch in December. I have a bunch set to close in February. Nothing in January, but I have a couple other things that I get paid on, including probate advance. A couple of checks came through. So it's definitely, it's a nice tool and a nice side income as well. Okay, let's wrap up here. We've got about 5 minutes before we have a hard stop. So any last minute questions, problems, challenges, suggestions? Larry, what's up? I had you back in.
Yeah, I thought I was done. Do you know if when you file probate, if that stops any foreclosure action? That was a question that came up today.
Yeah. So I can't give legal advice, but as a businessman, I've experienced this numerous times to know they're not really related, right? The probate is, and first off, I would say when you file probate, you're asking the court to do something. They haven't done anything yet. So there's no legal standing there at all, right? You file with the court and say, please appoint me as the executor of the estate. But until they say yes, it's nothing but a hope. So that's certainly not the foreclosure. Now, once you've been appointed to have the estate, all you have now is the power to manage affairs for the estate. And in reality, you have no more power than the decedent had, which is at some point you got to pay the mortgage off to avoid foreclosure. That all said, you can reach out to a lender and make attempts. Now, my experience is today, in today's market in California, the lenders will say they'll work with you while running the clock as fast as they can. It's kind of like in football at the end of a game when a team is ahead, they're supposed to run the ball and kneel down to get the clock rolling. They're not supposed to throw passes and incompletes to stop the clock. And so you're on the phone with a lender, they're running the clock as fast as they can. And they'll tell you, oh yeah, we're cooperative. Oh, we love you. We love our borrowers. We're the sweet lender. Oh, we're not going to foreclose, but we'll evaluate. Send us a letter. But meanwhile, they're like yelling down the hall, get this one foreclosed as fast as possible. That's my experience, especially in California. That said, I've also know that once you have the authority, a full authority or limited authority in California, I do know that it is possible to have the court, if the court will approve, issue a restraining order to stop the lender from foreclosing. And it's fairly routine in Los Angeles. And so what happens is usually there's a story. Why did you not, you had a notice of default for 90 days, and then you had a trustee sale. Why did you not act sooner? Well, we've been trying to get authority. The lender wouldn't talk to us because we have authority. Now we have it. The court's sympathetic to that discussion. But if it's a matter of I've been living in the house for 3 years since my dad died, I've been voiding the letters, the court will be less sympathetic. In some counties, Orange County, in general, the judges are less likely to be sympathetic and more likely to say, well, the lender's entitled to get paid and you've had ample time to do it. So what I will say is the judge has the ultimate authority to make the law. And if you can get the judge to agree to it, you often in California can get foreclosure stopped. That said, my experience ends the California border. I don't know what happens in Texas. It's a whole different state out there. You guys do a lot of things different. Okay. I would guess a judge in Tarrant County or wherever you are, if a judge says no foreclosure, I would imagine that would stop a foreclosure cold. But how do you get them to say that? I don't know.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is that the listing I'm taking, they did make me aware they are in default. So I think it's going to be incumbent that we reach out and talk to that lender to let them know that probate has now been filed. And if they back off, great. If they don't, then we'll have to bring the court back in to maybe hold them off.
A couple of things you might consider. What I've done is I've joined our local bar association, in my case, the LA County Bar Association as an affiliate. Mm-hmm. I've also joined the American Bar Association as an affiliate, and they have little chat boxes. You can ask questions and get answered there. And so that's a place you might ask a question to. Number one. Number two, in the Probate Master alumni, there are people who like or attorneys and realtors in Texas, like there are some in California, or my probate experts group as well. There's some attorneys as well. I happen to know one, a real good one in Houston that participates in my Facebook group, Probate Experts. So I'd ask the question there and try to get some experience there. Lastly, what a great question to ask a probate attorney you're looking to develop a relationship. Hey, Larry, look, this isn't your case. I'm working with another attorney on a matter. We're taking on the probate. My client's facing foreclosure. Have you ever seen a judge stop foreclosure in a probate to give them time to get things taken care of? What a great question to ask if you have the right relationship with an attorney.
Great point. I'm going to do that.
Uh-oh. Be careful. Make it more business.
That comes with the territory.
Okay. Larry, thanks so much. Yeah, we got to wrap this thing up here. So yes, real quick.
Bill, really quickly, if I'm going to try to jump on the call next week, I just wanted, before I forget, I wanted to talk to you about how do I talk to the, I want to bring my local surrogate into my church and to the fire department to talk about how to prevent probate. So nice. If we could do something next week, that would be great.
Well, that's estate planning. How do you get people interested in those topics? I think is an ongoing discussion. So for sure, come on next week. Let's talk about it. Also, put a question there. Let me just do a quick shameless plug to the Facebook group. We have the Probate Master Alumni is a great place to have discussions like that. How do you handle that? So go in the Probate Mastery Alumni group or in my Facebook group, Probate Experts. And then lastly, this is the call for the alumni of Probate Mastery. Great resource here, past episodes and discussions on similar topics. Take it there. So Shaun, love to go into that topic in detail next week. Love to see it in the Facebook group as well. We do this call every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm Bill Gross. I'm the substitute teacher here to keep you guys in line. I really appreciate working with you. And I'm a broker in Los Angeles. So if you have any referrals in Southern California can help you with the probate, please feel free to reach out. As well as I host Probate Weekly every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sign up there at probateweekly.com. And if you want to learn more about probate advances, getprobate.cash. Sign up there. And I do that call every Wednesday morning, 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll talk next week. Bye-bye.